Good morning and a very happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone, especially those watching from Ireland. So today is day 25 of my trip, and we're leaving the town of Santa Catalina and we're going up to the highest point. Now it's not the hardest climb, that comes next week, but it's steep, but it's the highest point of the entire trip. So once we get up there to a place called Acebo, we'll see how everyone's feeling, make sure everybody's okay in case it starts snowing up there and gets tricky, and then we have the option to go on and stop off at the Cruz de Ferro, which I was telling you a little bit about, and I'll tell you more when I'm there, if I'm there today. And then we have the option to stay nice and high up in a place called Manyarin before there's a very, very steep descent down. So I'm not sure where we're going to finish up today, but we know that either way tomorrow's stop is Ponferrada, so it means that it doesn't really matter where we stop today. There's only a couple of kilometres in the difference. But feeling good, physically very strong. Today was the first morning where I would have liked to lie on, but I'm up and it's no problem. It's just after 7 AM and really good day yesterday, and going to try and enjoy this last third of the trip. I think we've about 10 days to go. So Santiago, here we come. This is beautiful, people. Look at this. Now we're obviously heading in that direction, up behind those mountains. We got to go to a place called Rabanal, which is about 10 kilometers away, and then that'll be just before we start to go uphill. Now it's not like we're climbing Mount Everest or something like that, you know what I mean, but it's just one of those things that as long as the conditions are okay, you'll be grand. Even if they're not, you'll be grand, but still, you know, it's sometimes as well you want to build something up, so you're going, right, this is the challenge. So I'm looking for a bit of a challenge today. I think I'm in that kind of mood. I'm in Bear Grylls mode. Okay, so one thing when I was researching this to do this Camino, I looked at people's vlogs and I looked at the usual stuff. Maybe some of you out there are doing it already, like the top tips and how to do this and that and blah blah blah, and what you need and guidebooks and all the usual stuff. But what I wanted to do was put together a few tips while actually on the Camino. But instead of listening to me, why not listen to the top 5 tips from Kate? Because I mean, all German jokes aside, she is like one of the most organised people I've ever seen. Scary organised. So this is Kate's top 5 Camino tips.
Tip number 1, don't prepare too much. Whatever you read in vlogs and equipment and things like that, and like how much you should walk every day, you're not going to know until you're on the Camino. You're not going to know how far you want to walk or who you meet, and maybe that changes your plans. So read about it and learn about it just to build up your excitement, but you're never gonna know the Camino until you're there. Okay, tip number 2 is your equipment. You'll need far less than what you think you need before you come out here. A big surprise to me was that there's a washing machine and a dryer almost in every place. So you essentially only need whatever you wear walking and whatever you wear in the evening. You might have an extra t-shirt or anything like that, but in the end you can always wash and you're basically wearing what you need. And just make sure whatever you bring is functional, so sticks help a lot. Anything you can attach to your backpack or whatever is very useful, because then you don't lose your hat all the time. And in the end you're not in the desert, so you can always buy whatever you think you may have missed bringing. And I haven't met a single person on the Camino who didn't leave anything behind that they had extra in their backpack. So don't overpack. Okay, tip number 3 is learn some Spanish or the local customs. you won't be able to walk the Camino without being in touch with any of the locals, and it really, really helps if you know like common courtesy words like thank you, please. People will say buen camino all the time, but also practical things like do you have laundry service, where's the next albergue, where's the next shop, how much does it cost. It's your Camino, but you're still a guest in a different country, so you should be aware of the customs that are going on. So tip number 3 is, you know, when in Rome, don't ask for Schweinehaxe. So tip number 4 is, it is your Camino. This means that you walk your own pace, you decide how far you want to walk in one day, you decide where you want to stay the night, and you push yourself physically only to a point that is good and that feels good for your body. But it also means you have to encourage yourself and challenge yourself mentally, because you might be able to handle more than you think you can. And it is your Camino. You can decide if you want to walk alone or if you want to walk in a group. But in the end, it's your Camino, but it doesn't belong to you. There's been millions of people who walked the Camino before you, and there's going to be millions of people who walk it after you. And their Camino is always part of your Camino. You can't make it a self-centric or ego trip that you're going to make this Camino on your own. Because you can't just take from the Camino whatever you want to take from the Camino, but you have to give back to the Camino. This means that the lady who lives in a little village and serves coffee to pilgrims, she's part of the Camino. She will never walk the Camino, she doesn't want to, but she's part of the pilgrimage. So take what you can from her, because you're giving back to her automatically. Or you might see the lonely guy sitting at the bar and he's giving you a rundown of his life story, and you're really not interested and annoyed of it. But in the end, you might have just made his day because you're listening to whatever he has to say, and you'll be surprised what you can take from things like this, because you might have some insight or inspiration from whatever this person is telling you. So you're getting back from the Camino. The Camino is your walk and it's your Camino, but it doesn't belong to you. So tip number 4 is, it's your Camino, but it doesn't belong to you. Tip number 5, why are you doing the Camino? You might not know why you're doing it, but before you come out here, just take the time and sit down, think about what you like in your life, what you don't like in your life, who you are. Do you like the person you are? Do you like the person you think you are? Are you being honest to yourself? Is there something missing in your life? Because finally the answers will come on the Camino, but it's good to ask the right questions. If you don't ask yourself about the really important things in your own life before you come here, either way you will have answers slapped in your face, and you might not like the answer, you might not like the revelations or the moments that you have on the trip, but in the end it'll be things that you didn't consider being important, or you didn't consider being something that's heavy on your heart or heavy in your life and maybe causing pain. But all it means is that you're getting answers you didn't ask the questions for. And even when you have that moment where an answer appears and you didn't ask the question, it's the moment where you can ask the right questions as to why is this slapping you in the face, and why didn't you see it coming? Why didn't you realize that this was something that was causing you, uncomfort or something that doesn't make you happy? So in the end, what makes you happy? What do you want from life? What is your purpose in life? If you're lucky, it'll happen on the Camino. It may happen if someone else is asking you a question. It may happen because you've asked the right questions before. And it comes back to tip number 1, don't over-prepare, because either way it's going to happen. But just think about what you want to deal with, and what are the parts of your life that maybe you're not really satisfied with. it doesn't mean that if you come unprepared or if you don't ask yourself those questions, it's not going to happen, because you're going to have moments like that. But in the end, it means that, you know, you will only get answers if you ask the right questions, and you will only get the right answers if you ask the right questions. So this is tip number 5. Why are you doing the Camino? What do you want to get out of it? And what are the right questions you have to ask yourself to get the right answers?
So we just passed Alain, who was a French guy we met the other day. He's walking back because it's his last day. He's going to get the bus from Astorga, and he was wearing a green scarf and wishing me a happy St. Patrick's Day. And in keeping with the Irish theme for today, we enter the town of El Ganzo, which is the Spanish, of course, coming from the word Ganzi, a very famous jumper making town here in Spain. Well, howdy partners, what do you say? It's the Cowboy Bar. We're all gonna go for a rodeo tonight. Hey Cameron, did you stop at the Cowboy Bar?
Push me, and then just touch me, till I can get my satisfaction.
Well, we've been blessed so far. The weather's been really good, and we're only 2 kilometers from Rabanal, which will mean that, you know, 10k in the bag before I've even woken up, really. I mean, like, this is what the Camino is all about. It's Saturday morning. It's like not even 9 AM. Fresh air, beautiful scenery, just walking, getting your thoughts together. Being just a freedom. I've said that a million times, I know, but it's just how I feel. And the camera can't do this justice, and obviously words can't do it justice. But it's really, really nice to be out in this and on this Camino today. Yeah, like this, and do it nice and slow. Little pan. Okay people, we are now on the way to Fontebadon. Leaving Rabanal means that we are starting the climb towards the highest points of this whole Camino. There's light snow, but it's not too windy, so it's not too bad. There's still a bit of sun. I mean, the conditions are going to get a bit worse, but that's okay, because we still have a good view. We still feel like we are actually on the real Camino. Camino Kate is feeling good. I'm feeling good. The rest of our crew are behind us. I hope they don't get discouraged, because it is going to get tough. But they're troopers too. They're troopers too. So Ireland versus England today. It's Paddy's Day. We're going to be sitting in front of a warm fire with a couple of nice cervezas, cheering on the Irish in no time. So we're looking forward to that. But this is incredible. Once again, anyone watching this, even contemplating it, get out and walk this Camino. You won't regret it. It'll be one of the best things that you could ever do. A couple of more plaques along here. Connell, who sadly passed away, and is from Ireland, and also Johnny, who died in 1987. His memory continues to brighten our days with love and laughter, and that's from Keenan, also in Ireland. So happy St. Patrick's Day, and rest in peace to Connell and Johnny.